Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. Thank you for watching and following us. I'm Mike Morales in soggy Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Eric Zandona in Florida's Emerald Coast.
Florida. Yeah, no snow in Florida right now, right?
Not right now. No,
Not
it's
right
nice and
now.
sunny.
Oh, good. Lucky him. We're, yeah, we're getting the rain, a couple of weeks too late, in my opinion, but
Yeah,
there we are.
yeah.
Eric and I have been really just enchanted with this tequila.
Hmm.
This is Musica tequila. I don't know if you can see now. Yeah, if I
Yeah,
tilt it
this
like
one's a little
this,
harder to see.
yeah. Well, luckily I've had
Yeah.
some spillage, so you can see you can see the name there on the bottle. By the way, they've won this particular brand has won design awards as well because it's
Hmm.
really a. I've never seen a bottle like this.
Yeah, no, it's a fun design. Goes with their whole musical theme.
Right.
Kind of looks like almost like a trophy for some award.
Yeah, like some music award or
You're right,
a
yeah.
violin or a string instrument of some sort or a guitar
Hmm.
or a bass, because it's got how many strings? One, two, three, four, five. Five strings. So that'd be a what? A guitar. Well, you sometimes you got to look at the little details because
Right.
obviously they took a lot of time with the process and selecting the right tequila.
Hmm.
We love the Blanco Reposado. So
Yeah,
and since they've won, awards already, I kind of want to see what else we're missing. You know what I mean? Because,
yeah.
um,
So their bottle got a gold medal for design at ADI and silver medals across the board for the spirit, which at ADI is a good result because we don't give away a lot of gold medals. So
they're really, really stingy with their awards and
high standards, high standards.
well, rightfully so, rightfully
Yeah,
so. I mean,
yeah,
with what we do at Brands of Promise is, we're strictly agave spirits. We don't.
yeah,
EDI does, everything under the sun, so
yeah.
it gets to be way more difficult. And I can imagine that I've if I ever do another judging outside of the ones that we've already done,
Hmm.
and our own, I always request only agave spirits because I have no bar for stuff like Eric's got a very wide palette. He's whiskeys and bourbons and sakis and all that, and me, it's all agave spirits, everything, and even from other countries.
Right.
So that's where that's headed. I gotta say, Eric, and I'm using a Glencairn. I poured mine in a Glencairn. I love this color, man. This is a deep, rich.
Yeah. So it has a very strong bourbon aroma.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed that when I popped open the
Yeah,
cork again, even with all the spillage I've had, I've
yeah.
had it was still, but the Blanco was that way too. When I popped it open, it was a nice
Hmm.
baked Blanco,
Right.
cooked agave. Yeah, this is much sweeter on the nose.
Hmm. For me, it's actually a little bit hard to kind of parse where the bourbon barrel ends and where the tequila begins.
Yeah, because the tequila was actually quite sweet on the nose as well. It was a nice nose.
Yeah,
It was very
yeah.
nice.
So according to their stats, the Añejo was aged for 18 months in used bourbon barrels. So as you can see, it got a lot of impact from that in terms of color and aroma.
It looks a lot like almost like an extra añejo. Some extra
Yeah,
añejos will have that color. The
yeah, yeah.
legs and tears are beautiful, and they're
Hmm.
thick and generous. Streaming like Netflix, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fruitiness that I got, that nice banana plant plátano
Hmm.
fruitiness went really deep right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's sweet on that nose.
And there's an element of that kind of light greenness that the Blanco had that still kind of carries through, that I think is part of the
I'll buy
through
that.
line.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And
but
the alcohol part of it is even much less prominent than it was in the reposado. which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And this is I'm looking for it, and it's just
But all of them are the
there.
alcohol level is just kind of really perfect. You know,
Yes.
it's there, carry full carry of the aroma, but not sharp in any way. It doesn't burn your
Yeah,
nose
yeah.
hairs.
It's not going to singe your eyebrows or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
let's dive in, shall we?
Yes. Okay. Wow.
What are you getting?
Really,
That was
really earthy. Um, it's so it doesn't taste like oak barrel, you know, like a bourbon would. So,
Mhm.
but there is this really distinct yeah, earthiness to it that I'm still trying to put my finger on. You know what it actually kind of reminds me of is, you know, when you have like fried plantains with like the refried beans on the side,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it has that, it reminds me of like that refried bean kind of like earthiness that you get.
Yes.
Um, and there's
Pinto or
still
black bean?
probably pinto.
Okay.
Probably pinto, but yeah, that kind of earthiness that you get, and there's still some sweetness there. It's not as sweet as like fried plantains get, but there's anyway,
Yeah,
it's really nice.
I was expecting a little bit. I was expecting a more amped up version of the reposado, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not what you get. The
Mm-mm.
the sweetness on the palate is kind of flavored down or powered down, and
Yeah,
the barrel takes over.
yeah.
There's a well, let me go in here again because I was still mulling, and I actually had to cleanse my palate because I wanted to make sure that that
Yeah.
I didn't get any residual reposado on it because it's so well done, folks, and it's that when you go in a progression like this, sometimes it requires you cleansing the palate between one expression and the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
I would say too, like some of the things I'm getting are more in the vein of like sort of like the fiber, agave fiber, and almost like kind of a yeastiness that you would get in like a kind of heavy beer, like a Belgian kind of beer or something like that. There's this very your favorite word, umami character that's
oh
like
yeah,
kind of
no umami.
richness. Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of really interesting things going on here that are very different than the Blanco and Reposado. Takes a whole different way, sort of different flavor path, but really nice.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I was expecting a little bit more bitterness on the sides and the back of the palate. Again,
Hmm.
with all three, the finish is medium to long,
Yeah,
mostly medium, which is the other thing
yeah.
too. And I think there's no telling what they're doing with it. Maybe they're even oxygenating the Blanco. I don't think so,
Mm.
but you know, um, it is lingering on the palate, but it leans more toward bitterness than sweetness. Would you say it was?
Yeah,
Would you say
leans
it
that way.
was?
I think it straddles the line pretty well.
Would you say that when you were talking about like beer or stuff, do you think maybe malt? Are we talking about something like that? I don't know. You know more than me when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, I'll take your
It's
word for it.
yeah, it's not quite maltiness, but it like I said, it's like that yeastiness that you get in beer or like, you know, Vegemite, you know, if you've ever had that.
Oh, wow.
Not
No,
as in not as intense in any, you know, in any regard, but
I haven't had a
um
Vegemite sandwich since the 80s.
yeah. So yeah, I like it. I think actually, as you mentioned with the Repo, Um, I think this would actually pair well with a cigar. I think this would go nicely.
Mhm.
Um, the flavor I think would stand up well to it. It's I tend to like sweeter spirits with cigars, but I think this would actually work well, even
No,
though
this
it's
will work really well.
pretty
Yeah.
dry.
Oh, that's it. It's dry.
Hmm.
It does finish dry, whereas the Reposado was kind of a bit more on the sweet side.
Yeah, yeah,
And even though they're using the same type of barrels,
yeah.
um, maybe the char is different. No, the char has to be the same, doesn't it? I mean, well,
No, the char,
the rechar can be anything, right?
yeah, but no, the char can be the same. It can be different, but this is one of the things that you get, right? Is that each barrel is going to age differently in the
Mhm.
over the course of that 18 months. And so, also it depends on like what 18 months are we talking about, right? Are you doing
Summer,
December?
winter, spring, right,
Yeah, you're doing, winter to kind of like spring, or are you doing of the next year, or are you doing spring into summer of the next year? That's gonna affect like when the spirit went into the barrel and how long it had the colder seasons
right.
will affect that. So, but I like it. I can't think of any tequila that I've had that is really quite like this. It has a really distinctive character that it is kind
It's
of
got
fun.
a it's got a lingering, not a sweetness, but it's a lingering, and I won't call it bitterness either. It's more like a I want to say cloves, I want to say like a darker spice
Yeah, yeah,
that has been singed by some, you know, like a I don't even want to say caramelized. You
yeah.
know, you can caramelize something till it
Toasted spice.
toasted. Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
toasted spice, like a um
yeah, yeah.
toasted
Toasted
cloves,
cinnamon. Yeah, maybe
maybe cloves
clove,
or
but
cinnamon
not
toasted.
as intense, not as much of the oil, just the kind of woodiness of the
Right.
clove.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
More because it
clove
does finish.
oil is really intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like it. I would say Brandon Promise.
Brand of promise. Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
would say this is one of the more unique añejos I've had in a long time, and I think they did a really good job with it.
yes. It is, and I told Eric when we signed off on the Reposado, I said, I'm excited to see what the progression is of this,
Yeah.
but it was not what we expected. That wasn't what I expected on the
No.
progression. I thought it was going to be just a more amped up version of the Reposado, which can happen. But no,
Yeah.
they went a whole other direction with this one.
Yeah.
Very cigar forward. Very, again, I think it would be great with a dessert like a tiramisu. I think we talked, you know,
Oh yeah, coffee.
coffee
Yeah.
be great for coffee, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it would even be a great just nightcap. You know,
Yeah.
or like you said, chocolate. But I
Yeah.
would go darker. I would go 75,
Yeah.
cacao
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely dark. Yeah.
percentages 70 and over.
Yeah.
Don't go lighter because you really have to have the right kind of chocolate to mix and match pair
Yeah.
with this uh
This too, I think would work well in an old fashioned or like
a Latin
what
man.
do they Yeah, 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 you could do that. Yeah, the sweetness from the vermouth I think would work nice against it would balance well against it. Or what's the other one? Oaxacan old fashioned,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So even though it's called Oaxacan old fashioned, like the majority of it is like añejo or reposado tequila, depending on what recipe you look at. So I think this would actually work really well with some like can you imagine like some of this with that chulele, like just a little bit of
Oh
that in a
yeah.
Oaxacan old fashioned. Like this
Oh,
would it would
but your
it would be
Chulele is
really
lit up though. That's 102 proof, man. You just want to float that baby on
yeah,
the
yeah,
surface.
you use just a small
Yeah,
amount
yeah.
in the
Woo.
but I think it would be really nice. Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway, that's my thought.
that would happily end your evening.
Yeah.
I would say that's what's our price point? What's our price point for this?
$70 looks like for the
That's
añejo.
not bad, Eric, for the
Yeah,
quality
I
that you're
mean,
getting
yeah, I've seen way more expensive añejos and
with
nowhere
less
near
character.
yeah, with less character. So this
Yeah.
is something I would say if you're uh, into bourbon a lot, like the aroma is going to be very familiar, but the flavor is in a totally different direction that I think is really fun for tequila drinkers and people who love agave spirits. So check it out.
There you go. From Eric Zandona, the founding member of ADI and one of our senior tasters, one of our senior guys, senior TJs. You've
Yep.
heard it from here first. That's our take on Musica Añejo. Now, if you folks have had it, tell us what you're doing with it, what you're pairing it with. Give us suggestions that we didn't cover. What you're paying for it, because we'll see what the price point. That's a
Yeah,
great price point though for this kind of
yeah,
quality all day long. Back up the truck you know.
yeah.
But anyway, that's our take on Musica Añejo. Again, subscribe to our newsletter, subscribe to our website, hit the notification bell here on YouTube, subscribe here too. A lot of folks, it turns out that our numbers are saying a lot of folks are watching us, but they're not subscribed. And the best way to support, creators of any YouTube channel,
Right.
hit the subscribe button. Because that way, every
Yes.
time you hit the notification bell, every time we drop a video, you'll get notifications up there, and you'll see it'll come up on your algorithm, and on your personal algorithm. Put this one on your personal algorithm.
Yeah.
But I'm Mike Morales here in wet Southern California. That guy out there is.
Eric Zandona in Florida's Emerald Coast.
You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. Thank you for following. Thank you for leaving a comment. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.